What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with Gab and Maui. Hello!
Yeah! Sabayan natin si Tab Baldwin. I'm wearing red plus red shorts.
Kaibigan niya si Jackson Tiago daw. Kaibigan niya daw si Jackson Tiago.
Best
Because
friends
Ateneo
lang.
Kamatasan lang sila. Pangan.
Oh my
UE
God.
ang pangalan.
Oh my God.
Let's
Ang
go,
bilis
UE!
mo naman.
Kala ko,
Ang bilis
Gab,
mo
kaya ka
naman, Gab.
nakaganyan.
Nakatapos
Dahil
lang
ano
ng
eh.
game.
Oo, tapos ng game. Kala ko kaya ka nakaganyan para ka sa UP eh. UE pala.
Di pare, red tayo. UE! Remo Goat, let's go!
Remo Goat. Remo Goat, let's go. Gab, alam ko yung shorts na yan. Yan ba yung shorts natin sa Ultimate?
Oo. Binuhay ko para
yeah.
na sa podcast na to, pare. Binuhay ko.
High school pa yung shorts na yan. Diyos ko, Gab. Anyway, let's talk about today's UAAP games. Obviously, Ateneo lost. That's why naka-red si Gab today. Maui actually went to watch the game. And Maui, balita ko, nandun ka mismo, courtside, sa harap, parang celebrity. Tama ba? You'll share your experience with us later.
Yeah, nakachamba tayo ng floor seats. First time yun, yung talagang floor seats.
Okay, sige, kwento mo sa amin how that is later. But before we talk about that Ateneo-La Salle game, let's talk about the first game briefly. Congrats to the UST Growling Tigers for ending their season strong with a win, doubling their win total from last season from 1 to 2. To be fair,
100% improvement in fairness.
And
Give the coach of the year to Pito. Siya lang na makakapagsabi na 100% improvement siya from the previous season.
To be fair, I would have still considered them as an underdog kanina, even though they beat FEU or upset FEU in the first round. So, it was a good win for UST and a good end to their season. There's definitely no way to go but up for UST. More or less, I think kanina they mentioned like sino ba yung si Vince something yung one of their graduating players, but mostly intact team and they're gonna get their top recruits next season, no? Sina Padrigao, si Paranada. So no way to go but up for UST. On the other
talaga
side,
nasa isip mo, bro.
Oo nga, UE na nga nasa isip ko. On the other side, disappointing end to FEU season, especially to LJ Gonzalez's UAAP career. Anything you wanna say from that game, Gab?
Just that Mo Fati showed how mediocre he is as a foreign student athlete. UST outscored FEU with points in the paint, despite their center being 6'4", Christian Manaytay, who was in foul trouble in the third quarter with 4 fouls. So they were literally playing Eco Laure throughout the third and fourth quarter. And Eco Laure he's a chunky guy, but he's not a tall guy. And they still outscored FEU in the paint. Wow. Mo Fati was just you can't use him against any lineup. UST took advantage of that. They were able to get to the paint. Yeah, and he's a one and done. So I think a lot of FEU faithful are glad to see him go. On UST side, I think they matched the small ball of FEU and they played it perfectly. I thought. Nick Caballero hit a lot of outside shots. Paul Manalang, I was surprised with how he played. He got to the paint, dished off to the perimeter, dished off for drop passes to Eco Laure and to Nick Caballero. They hit threes, they ran, and on the defensive end, they just outplayed FEU. For FEU, I think Mel Newsom, the one who was calling the game, really did call it out from the first half until the second half. There were a lot of isolations, and this is how they played, and it just doesn't work for this team. We've seen it last year. As I've said it many times, that Coach Denok Miranda is kind of a bolero for this season because he didn't change the way this team played. And they still played the same way, and it was not effective a while ago. There's a lot of isolation, pick and roll, drive and kick, and hirap maka-open sa talagang FEU. Hard to score. Aside from Cyrus Torres and Joric Bautista, we've said this before, there's a lack of shooting on this team. They rely a lot on dribble penetration, but with no shooters to space the floor, it's kind of hard to get that penetration. It's mind-boggling to me that this FEU team won 2 games against Ateneo when they lost twice to UST this season. That's how disappointing of a season Ateneo has had, that they lost to FEU, who lost to UST twice. But yeah, sad ending. LJ Gonzalez fouled out early in the fourth quarter, and sad to see him. He was, I think, in tears on the bench, and it's just so sad. I think it's gonna be a fresh new start for FEU next season. We've talked about before. They have a ton of players coming from their juniors division, going up to their seniors, and honestly, just aside from Joric Bautista, sit all the other players who, well, maybe except for Joric Bautista and Cyrus Torres, maybe sit all the other players and just let the young guys roll. Because honestly, they need a fresh new start. They need a fresh new team. They need to rebuild. And next season, they have to install something new. They have to play a different way. They can't just rely on drive and kick, pick and roll, drive and kick. They have to change the way they play. They have to play to their players' strengths. They're gonna have a lot of wings. They're gonna have a guard in John Ray Pasaol, but they're gonna have a lot of wings next season. So I think they could play better. I hope Coach Denok and coaching staff there, Gabi Severino, can install a system that complements their players and that's more creative than just drive and kick. It's not gonna work. And I hope they have a better center. Better FSA.
Nowhere to go but up.
Nowhere to go but up from Mo Fati. For UST, they better pray that Nick Cabanero stays one more season. They better pray because they have a lot of transferees coming in next season. Forsky, Kyle Paranada, and Jeremy Robinson, who was recruited by La Salle, is transferring here. Ashon Andros from UP. So a lot more talent coming in. So for these two teams, it's a disappointing season, but a lot to look forward to for season 87. Okay.
All right. Maui, you shared a tweet by Naveen. After UST's win to end their season, Coach Pido Harencio explained how it wasn't fair to the team that a member of the team wasn't open with the Tigers but did not indicate who specifically. Any ideas, Maui? I think may idea tayo kung sino yun. According to things that we've heard. Pero hindi siya verified.
All of their players played naman the whole season except for the FSA. So I won't name him, but Coach Pido decided not to name him. But it's definitely their FSA. But yeah, I think si Coach Pido is looking forward to next season. I think pati yung half-court performance ng cheering squad ng UST showed that they're looking forward to a better season 87. I think that will be the true test when it comes to Pido Harencio. If UST continues to play like this, then maybe they have to move in another direction again. Unfortunately, maybe our subscribers and maybe some of our thoughts this season were right that Coach Pido's strategy is outdated for the UAAP. But yeah, this is a great step. They doubled up basically from the previous season, but no, But despite this still disappointing, I think if you look at yung power rankings namin power rankings ko ng start ng season, I expected UST to do a lot better. Probably number 5 or number 6, but they end up as the 8th team.
Nabulot tayo sa lahat ng mga recruits nila, pare. Si Crisostomo, si Ventulan, and all that. All of them were not playing.
Yeah. Even SG Moore, who was hyped so much by the media because he won the Slam MVP, I think he did not even play meaningful minutes this season. So yeah, if I'm UST, I'm really just looking forward to season 87. As far as FEU naman, I think Gab failed to mention si Patrick Seat and Anunuevo. I think those two guys, they will have to really find a way to be more meaningful in season 87. Cholo Anunuevo has had a myriad of injuries the past 2 or 3 seasons in it, and my hope is that he finally gets healthy come season 87. He showed some flashes in first round as a small ball power forward center. Si Patrick Steed also showed some promise this season as a secondary playmaker. So maybe he can improve more. I like the size of both of them. Patrick Steed as a 6'2", 6'3" point guard is good. Potentially for the national team. Cholo Anunuevo as a 2, 3, 4, 5.
He can shoot. He's not gonna go to the national team, Maui. Patrick Slick can shoot the fucking ball.
Yeah. But it's early, so maybe we see a different side of Sleet. Hopefully they continue to improve. Si Cholo Anunuevo is a bit disappointing, but you can really point that to injuries. And I guess my final thought is just to give LJ Gonzalez his flowers. I hope he gets into a good league, whether it be in the PBA or in the KBL, I think, or probably in the B League. I hope he gets into a good team and he continues to develop. We've seen a different LJ Gonzalez this season with an improved outside shot and mid-range shot. So yeah, hopefully they continue to improve. As far as Coach Denok, I have the same sentiments as Gab. They ran mostly the same sets from the previous season. I hope they improve next season. I think Gabby Severino being there should give them that much needed boost. I hope they improve. Because if they don't improve come season 87, what was the point that Coach Olsen resigned or was asked to go? I think that's debatable. Some of our subscribers mentioned that he decided to go, but maybe there's another part of the story that we don't know. So you want to see FEU competitive, similar to how we wanted La Salle to be competitive this year. They're much like UST, they're a staple of the UAAP. So hopefully both of these teams show us a different side come season 87.
Good point. By the way, Pat's lead 0 of 13 kanina. Not a good ending for him also, because we were expecting him to sort of explode also this season since he was doing well last season. Let's move on to the main story, main game today. Ateneo versus La Salle. Another classic rivalry match, I would say. I think La Salle had the biggest lead, but Ateneo kept it close as much as they could. La Salle ending up with a victory, which means La Salle really has a chance to get that number 1 seed depending on the results tomorrow. And that also means Ateneo might have to battle Adamson. If Adamson wins tomorrow, Ateneo will have to battle Adamson for 4th place. So hindi pa natin alam. Hindi pa natin alam kung sino yung magiging 4th and final team sa UAAP because Ateneo lost the game today. I want to hear your thoughts, Gab. First, please talk about the La Salle side, and then let's go to Maui with his floor seats to hear about the Ateneo side. Gab, ano nakita mo sa La Salle? How did they win this game?
First of all, if you love defense, this is a game to watch. If you're a nut for defense, because this was a defensive game all throughout, I don't think there's much of offense to speak of. There's a lot of defensive stuff. If you love block shots, there are a lot of block shots, chase down blocks, steals. A lot of them from both Ateneo-La Salle. So kudos to them for bringing it on the defensive end. But from La Salle, if you watch La Salle and if you follow La Salle since the first round, you wouldn't recognize this team. You wouldn't recognize the La Salle Green Archers from the first round of the UAAP season 86 to now. They play this game was the pace of this game favored Ateneo. I think you guys would both agree, no? It was a slow down half court game. Barely any fast break points, except for a few for La Salle, but they played very differently from how you saw them in the first round. They were not trapping or pressing. They were not going to early offense anymore. They were not taking the first shot that was available every time. They were probing. They were patient in the half court. This is the criticism we had for La Salle in the first round. Diba? Parang, where's their half court game? When the game slows down, they can't execute. And now it's totally different. The game has slowed down and they're executing. A lot of my La Salle friends, a lot of La Salle faithful criticized Coach Topex Robinson in the first round, especially again when they lost to UP in the first round. That he doesn't make adjustments. What are you doing? What are these rotations? And now I think to be fair, to give Coach Topex his flowers, he has adjusted. He has completely changed the rotation, but he has made key rotation changes. He's changed the way they play. I love how patient they were on the offensive end a while ago. They weren't just looking for the first shot or the quick shot. They were executing not the first thing on the dribble handoff. Mike Phillips was looking for back cuts all the time. Beautiful pass, by the way, Mike Phillips, nutmegging Obasa. But yeah, I was very impressed by La Salle. In the first half, it was mostly Mark Nonoy and Jonel Policarpio. Jonel Policarpio in the first quarter drew 4 fouls, 1 on Balungay, 1 on Kuhn, and then 2 on Obasa, which I think was very key. Ateneo made it a conscious effort to go to Joe Obasa in this game. And he had 21 points. 21 points and 9 rebounds. 2 steals and 3 blocks. He played a hell of a game, and I thought those 2 fouls in the first quarter really hurt Ateneo. That inside presence that Joe Obasa had, he was just bigger and stronger than the whole La Salle front line. Although Raven Cortez did tap it away from here in the post-ups mga 3 or 4 times. The same move, Joe Obasa. Learn not to keep to extend your ball, extend the ball, not to keep it behind because alam na ni Raven Cortez. But yeah, the key rotation changes that Coach Topek, again, less Wacky Manuel, more Policarpio, a lot more Makalalag David. Just amazing. And I think a lot of La Salle faithful love him now. I mean, if you saw La Salle in the first round, you wouldn't have bet on them to take that twice to be advantage just for how inconsistent they were. But I love the way they played. They made the clutch plays in the end. What a shot by Evan Nele, both on the fast break 3 and on that pull-up floater over Joe Obasa to give La Salle a 3-point lead. I can't say enough about La Salle. They're playing on a totally different level from how they were early in the season. They're playing from a totally different level than I think the rest of the teams in the UAAP. They're peaking at the right time. Hopefully, they continue to peak when they head to the Final Four and into the finals. Mike Phillips rested for how many games? I think Coach Topex just really wanted him for this Ateneo-La Salle game, and he showed his activity, blocking a lot of shots, and just the
monster
activity
rebounds
on the offensive. Monster rebounds in the end, and although he missed his 2 free throws, but wow, KQ, by the way, hats off to KQ. He was covered mostly in the first half. He scored like 3 points in the first half. Then scored 11 in the second half. He adjusted pretty well. Ateneo made sure that there was always a tall guy and a tall, physical, and quick guy covering KQ, whether it was Chris Kuhn manning him, Josh Lazaro, who played heavy minutes into the rotation just so they could match up with KQ and Janel Policarpio. Jason Credo, I thought, did a very good job on KQ, but he adjusted. And I think that the main difference with La Salle to Ateneo is they have a guys like Evanele and KQ, who, when the offense stalls, you give it to them and they'll make a play. And that was evident in the fourth quarter. Evanele and KQ took the ball into their hands and made plays, whether it was to draw fouls or to dish off to wide open teammates. Remember that VJ David 3? That was off a KQ pick and pop with Evanele and the hockey assist to VJ David. That's how that shows the identity of this La Salle team. That they know their two main guys and they have complementary pieces to those two main guys. So I like where La Salle's going. Do I go to Ateneo side or mamaya na? Mamaya na.
Maui.
Si
Let's
Maui
go
muna.
with Maui. Maui.
Yeah.
Front row seats to that Ateneo-La Salle game. Ano masasabi mo about Ateneo?
Yeah, I have to say lang a few things about La Salle. I think they played a hell of a game. They had 25 field goals, and of those 25 field goals, 22 were assists. I think si KQ really has led by example. That hockey pass to VJ David was beautiful. When VJ David hit that three, I knew Ateneo was in trouble. But more so, just a few notes. I thought that La Salle really played more patient, as Gab mentioned. You didn't see Evanele or Kevin Cambao rushing to make a play. And that was really evident nung fourth quarter. I think this La Salle team has really peaked at the right time. They have matured a lot the past 2 rounds, 14 games. This is a different team.
Grabe yung evolution nila, no? Grabe talaga yung evolution nila.
And it's warranted. It's the reason why they won. They've won. They swept the second round. They beat all teams mostly by double figures. I think just a few games yung tight. But yeah, Evanele hit timely shots. I think this is the reason why he is here in La Salle. He has to bring yung championship mentality niya from his time in San Beda. But I really thought that KQ was really the best player on the court during the whole game. He was very patient. Despite getting covered by Ateneo, very good nung first half. He was very patient. He was just waiting to get his turn. No more rush 3-pointers. No more rush floaters. Contested jumpers. I thought that KQ really... Maybe the stats don't reflect it, but I thought that KQ really played one of his best games this season. I also thought that maybe Mike Phillips also played his best game of the season. He had 9 offensive rebounds, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. I think if you watch the game again, you will really see yung activity niya was really disruptive the whole game. He had a lot of very crucial offensive rebounds that led to second chance points. And I think yung some of his chase down blocks and steals were very crucial. I thought that one of the crucial plays was when Obasa was supposed to dunk, si Evanele was able to strip him. That was one very crucial play in the fourth quarter. So yeah, I think this La Salle team is very different from the one we saw nung first round. You can see yung cohesion ng team talaga eh. Si Abadam played spot minutes but played well nung third quarter. I thought that VJ David really played a hell of a game despite probably only scoring 6 points. So yeah, hats off to La Salle. I think they really deserve potentially becoming the number 1 team in the UAAP with them sweeping the second round. As far as Ateneo, I have to say yung experience kanina was quite different for me. This is probably my first time getting floor seats. So thank you to Tita Cory for giving me the chance to get floor seats. It was exhilarating. I could feel yung tension. I could hear the players. calling out the plays, calling out defensive assignments. I could see them. I could really feel yung intensity, and I probably touched the ball around 5 to 7 times throughout the game. So it was quite a different experience, I would say.
Totoong bolero to, pare. Totoong bowler. Totoong
Ito ang
bowler si
baller of the
Maui.
week.
Kakaiba. In my 20 years in the UAAP, I think this is my first time na talagang floor seats. I experienced being first row seats before, but yung experience being on the floor and actually yung referee natatamaan, pwede ko nga matamaan. Yung parents ko were actually concerned na baka daw sugudin ko yung referee. Hindi ako magustuhan na call. So it was quite a different experience. I would say I enjoyed it a lot, especially since Sam mentioned this Ateneo-La Salle game is what we've been waiting for. I think yung Ateneo-La Salle games this season is the real Ateneo-La Salle rivalry that we know. Sorry to La Salle, but they really struggled during the Ange Kwame era after Ben Embala. But La Salle is back with a bang. They're number 1. But despite all this, I think that Ateneo really did a good job. Despite all the miscues, despite finishing the second round at 7-7, you couldn't ask more. I think dun sa losses ng Ateneo na 7 games, all 6 of those 7 games or 5 of those 7 games came probably in single digits and were all very competitive. I was mentioning to my dad, sayang tong Ateneo team na to because they could have easily been challenging for the twice to beat advantage if we're being honest about it. Had it been for a few 50-50 balls in most of their games. But I thought Ateneo really did a good job a while ago. Si Obasa has really improved leap and bounds from the Obasa we've seen nung preseason. He had a monster game. I thought that he was limited because of some of the fouls called on him. I thought that some of the fouls shouldn't have been called. I think that he did a good job managing his playing time despite the foul trouble. He still ended up with 21 points and 9 rebounds. He had 2 steals and 3 blocks. But Gab is right. He struggled when Raven Cortez was guarding him. I think he had 2 to 3 turnovers of those post-ups over Raven Cortez.
The same move every time.
Yeah, the same move. But I thought that Ateneo really had a chance to win the game, definitely. Jared Brown probably had one of his worst games in the UAAP. He was 1 for 12, but he hit a crucial 3-pointer. Most of his shots actually in the first half were in and outs from 3-point line. So I was really expecting a Jared Brown bounce back in second half. But unfortunately, he only hit 1 shot. I have to give credit also to Balungay. I thought that La Salle really did a good job covering Balungay of those screens for the 3-pointer. And I thought that Balungay really did a good job this game, finding his offense. We've had games where Balungay just disappeared completely. This game is still, he really battled sa offensive glass. He had 4 offensive rebounds, a couple of putbacks. I think he has to improve definitely come season 87, generating more points from his own. Definitely learning to play make and to shot create. I thought that Chris Kun really played a hell of a game also, despite him injuring his ankle. I think nung late first quarter, I saw him sa Ateneo bench. He had to take off his shoe and he was taped so that he could continue to play. He was limping the whole game, but he continued to fight. I thought that was very brave. And it really showed yung character ni Chris Kun as the captain of Ateneo. But yeah, this is the story of Ateneo the whole season. They've had so many games that have gone down the wire and so many games that they haven't closed out. I think I've said this numerous times. I've said this many, many times during our previous episodes. It's very hard when all of your games are down the wire because you have to really rely on 50-50 balls. You can't, if you want to win more games, if you want to be a dominant team, you can't be in down the wire games every game. I think that's established by this Ateneo team. So yeah, definitely rooting for UE to win during their game against Adamson tomorrow. But if not, then Ateneo will go up against Adamson. More games for us. So I guess we're happy
More
also. But yeah, I think that's really been the story of Ateneo this season. Having a ton of games that have gone down the wire. I think yung inexperienced ng team has really shown this season. I think that Mason Amos has to really improve defensively for him to get more minutes. He played 12 minutes but was a plus 10. I think si Coach Tab mentioned in his presser that Mason Amos really has to improve on the defensive side for him to get more minutes.
They were targeting him every time.
Yeah, every time. One final note that I really like that Coach Topex did was play Junel Policarpio as the 5-man. I thought that was very good to draw fouls from Joe Obasa. Joe Obasa really struggled to defend Policarpio off the dribble. Maybe some of those foul calls were not good calls, but I think that if Obasa did not pick up the second foul, he'd probably pick it up a few possessions after because of that call by Coach
Those
Topex.
were 50-50 calls din, Maui. I mean,
50-50.
You could take both sides Parang not call it or call it May contact
exactly.
So
yeah, exactly. I thought that Coach Topex really did a hell of a job today. That call to play Policarpio at the 5 really had Ateneo struggling to play Obasa. But yeah, Coach Tab mentioned any game he goes against Coach Topex is a chess match, and this was an example of that. I thought that both teams really did a good job the whole game. Hoping for more Ateneo-La Salle games. Maybe NU upsets UP and Ateneo gets number 4 and La Salle number 1. Then maybe we see La Salle with a twice-a-beat advantage over Ateneo. So more Ateneo-La Salle games, maybe. But yeah, looking forward to the games tomorrow, definitely.
Just one more note from me. If we're gonna have yung Ateneo-La Salle games, please let it be in Araneta Coliseum. It's a whole different experience to have it
Iba
in
talaga.
the Araneta Coliseum.
Iba talaga.
Yeah,
if you're
the acoustic,
if you're a UAAP veteran,
classic
if you're a UAAP veteran watcher, yung atmosphere talaga ng Araneta is electric compared to MOA.
Yeah, the acoustics of Araneta are unparalleled. There's no delay. I mean, from the design of the MOA Arena to the design of Araneta Coliseum, there's no delay of sound from the drums. When every time there's a beat, everyone in the arena hears it. Sa MOA kasi may drop there's a drop from the upper box, so there is a delay in sound. So a lot of the times, all the cheers are delayed from both sides, and it's a different. And the lighting in Araneta is a hell of a lot better than it is in MOA. There's like a spot. Yeah, it's a spotlight on the court, and it's just a better viewing experience. Siguro downside na lang is mahina signal ng globe sa loob because it's a smart Araneta Coliseum.
Totoo yan, Gab.
Totoo yan. No signal ng globe.
Pag nanonood tayong games, di ba? Or one of you or two of you watches a game, late mag-reply sa podcast thread natin dahil kapag Araneta may delay. Totoo yan. Let me just add a few things
to
what the two of you said before we go to your thoughts, Gab, on Ateneo. Masakit yung talo, di ba? As an Ateneo fan, you really wanted to win this game. Number one, because it's against your rival.
Masakit yung buong season. Ano yung talo? Masakit yung buong season.
Masakit yung buong
season. If you're an Ateneo fan, it's hard to watch this entire season. Heartbreak after heartbreak.
Sorry po.
Parang nasal nga lang, di ba? Ng season 85. Very similar.
Exactly. Oo, yun na nga. Oo nga. Pero, hindi, what I was gonna say is, alam mo, natuwa din ako. Kasi na-miss ko talaga yung ganitong Ateneo-La Salle na laban na dikit, very competitive. The atmosphere was different, I think. And I think the La Salle crowd knows it also na this La Salle team is special. So talagang all out na rin. Parang nabuhayan ulit yung
They didn't know it in the first round.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Pre-season nga, di ba? Pre-season, may mga nag-fire Topex na.
So para sa akin, this is the revival of that rivalry or that game, yung intensity talaga ng Ateneo-La Salle game. So, natalo tayo, yes. Pero, natuwa ako dun sa game na yun kasi grabe yung intensity. Nakakamiss. You mentioned Maui diba? And how he really played through it and how he played hurt. Just wanted to add also na despite being injured, despite playing through the injury, he guarded KQ a lot of times, and I would say he did a pretty decent job or a pretty good job despite yung injury niya and being slightly maybe smaller than KQ or maybe as tall as KQ. I think he did a good job. In fact, I think there was a time na he was able to strip KQ or front him as best as he could. So, sa akin, maybe it wasn't glaring numbers na he scored 20 points. I don't think he even scored in double digits. I think he scored like, tama ba? 9 points. He only
9
scored
points.
9 points. But
that 8
I think
rebounds.
he got 8 rebounds. But I think that was a really good game for Chris Kuhn. And I have to give him credit for that. Kasi alam ko we've been very hard on Chris Kuhn. The past few games, actually, all throughout the season, most of the time we've been very hard on Chris Kuhn. But I think today was like an all heart kind of game for Chris Kuhn. Playing hurt and having to guard the best player on the other team and the best player of the UAAP season in KQ. Eventually, magiging MVP si KQ. So I think kudos to Chris Kuhn
Luck
for
na, luck.
doing this. And to be fair kay Chris Kuna, he hit like a crucial mid-range jumper to keep the game close, I think in the last minute or so. So he was fighting. This guy was aggressive as much as he could. Other things to note, I think na-mention nyo na yung kay Obasa. I just want to also mention, just to add dun sa performance ni Obasa, free throw shooting, he shot 8 of 10. Or tama ba? Basta he shot pretty well from the free throw
8 of
line.
10.
5 of 7
He
lang
also
pala.
made talaga? Okay.
Still
Anyway,
okay. UAP standards.
Felt like more. Felt like more, but he hit 2 crucial free throws also during the last few minutes na parang nung magbe-free throw na siya parang oh no, ito na yun, mamimiss niya yan, kinakabahan na ako. And he hit both. So, maybe something na I'm trying to remember, Ange was never that good with free throws then. So, to be fair kay Joseph Obasa, big improvement din for me yung free throw shooting niya versus like where he was at the start of the season. So, something I noticed. Third, I think for Ateneo, hindi pa ata siya na-mention, but Sean Cuteves also played well in terms of like the intensity and the energy. Naalala ko nung first half or first quarter, I think he was actually all throughout, he was all over, diba? Closing out on the three-point shooter, tapos he was helping out kapag nasa ilalim sina Mike Phillips. I thought there was a block from Kiteves, but he was called for a foul early in the first quarter. Again, 50-50 siya, so okay. But I love Kiteves' energy, and I think we really need that type of energy from him for the rest of the season for us to make it to the Final Four. On La Salle's side, I've said this in the previous episode. I think La Salle is the hottest team right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're the champions. KQ is special. He's playing at an
I-jinx mo
MB
na naman.
by the i-jinx ko na naman. May nag-comment nga pala na wag ko daw i-jinx. Pasensya na, jinx ko na naman. But KQ is special, and he's really dominating yung other teams, diba? And MVP, sure MVP na siya. And I think if there's someone that can bring his team to the championship, like Carl Tamayo bringing the championship back to UP, or 30 Ravenna on his like final year, just dominating everyone, I think KQ can do it. And alam naman natin, diba, we always talk about it. KQ might leave after this season. So I think he's extra motivated to get that W before he leaves for the KBL, the B League to play abroad basically. Gab, anything you want to what do you have to say for Ateneo? Hindi mo pa pala
A
pinag-uusapan
lot.
masyado.
A lot. A lot. Tagal nyo eh. Yung ang dami ko pang thoughts eh. Alright. First of all, that play at the end with 66-65, Chris Kuhn, he played a good game, but that was the highlight to me. Like, what the fuck was that pass, man?
Yung
What the fuck?
inbound play niya.
Sean Kiteves
Off a timeout.
was wide open. Yeah, off a timeout. Sean Kiteves was open on the perimeter, and you force it to Kai Balungay underneath in a very tight spot. Like, what the hell, man? What the hell was that? I mean, Jared Brown hit a fast break three. They've got a defensive stop. Tab called the timeout. I thought, we're going to execute. This is it. And if there's one pamatay sunog play to your run, that was it, Chris Kuhn. I mean, I'm not sure if that was the design play, just to find one option, just find Kai Balungay underneath. No, I'm sure there are other options. He's done this before, Chris Kuhn. Inbounds play, he looks for the main option, which is not right. You're supposed to look for many options. You can't just look at for one. So yeah, that was pretty painful. And in
by the way, just to mention, Chris Kuhn had one turnover. Yun na yun.
Yeah,
Yun na
The
yun.
most crucial
yeah,
of them
but
all.
man, that was a big bummer to his game. And actually, Ateneo had a lot of chances in this game. They had a lot of chances to tie the game. They had a chance to win the game, but just couldn't execute down the stretch. I mentioned earlier. Second, I mentioned earlier that in contrast to La Salle, Ateneo just doesn't have a guy. Anyone. I've mentioned this all throughout since the preseason, all throughout first round, second round. It's very apparent that unlike La Salle, which has Evanele and KQ to hand the ball to make a play, get a shot up, Ateneo just doesn't have. They just search for answers. In the third quarter, again, the third quarter for Ateneo, how many times did they get a shot clock violation or just a shot with 1 second remaining? Someone has to force it up. It's just over and over, man. Just hand the ball to someone. Someone hijack the offense. I know that's not what Tab wants, but someone has to hijack that offense when nothing is happening. A daming times na nothing is happening on offense and no one is trying to make a play. Papakamot ka na lang talaga ng ulo as an Ateneo fan because for the most part, they try to give it to Jared Brown, but Jared Brown is not that guy. He can't be that guy for your team. He was 1 of 12 a while ago. He was having a hard time you getting the ball through the hoop. And as I said also in the first round, you can't rely on Ian Espinosa to make plays for you. He just doesn't have the speed nor the height to be that one-on-one execution guy. I don't know. For next season, they have to find someone who's willing to hijack the offense. They have to, get someone who has the balls to take over. Because sobrang apparent nung difference when you have a guy like KQ and guys like KQ and Evanele from La Salle and Ateneo, you have no one. You really have no one to go to. And it's just so frustrating on that part. Sean Kiteves, yes, I agree, played a good defensive game. On offense, good God, man. His shots were so ugly. Grabe. And this is also part of the reason why they struggle on offense because a lot of the times when they do drive and kick, they kick it out to Sean Kiteves. And he can't shoot. Or either he can't shoot or he doesn't want to shoot. He doesn't even look at the basket at times. Hard having a guy who just can't shoot. And in the first half, there were two guys who couldn't shoot. It was Josh Lazaro and Sean Kiteves at the same time. Sam, I was thinking of you the many times Josh Lazaro you couldn't finish in the paint.
Missed a gimme.
Yeah, I missed a ton of gimmies. I think he had 2 in that possession. So yeah, Ateneo has a lot of good defenders, but they give a lot on offense. They give up a lot on offense. What else? Well, you guys mentioned Joe Obasa already. He's just 1 year with Ateneo, but you gotta appreciate what he's done so far this season. He's leading the league in blocks. He's had quiet. I wouldn't say quietly, but he's had a pretty good season for his lone season in Ateneo, and I think they're gonna miss him next season. His rim protection is a big thing. Yung tama ka, Maui. I thought some of the blocks should have been blocks and not fouls, but what can you do, right?
We accept those calls. Those are always 50-50 calls. Just to be clear.
Those are always 50-50. What else? Kai Bulungay missed a ton of gimmies as well. I think he had alley-oop and he missed it. On Mason Amos' part, grabe, I think if you look at per minute production, I think he had 10 points in 12 minutes.
Absurd.
But
absurd ng offensive
May 4-point
production
play
ni Mason
din.
Amos. To be honest.
Yeah,
4-point
4-point
naman
play ni fouled by Earl Abadam in the third quarter. So,
by the way,
I think that's what cost...
Patay sunog yun kasi palayo na La Salle nun when he hit that 4-point play.
Yeah, but
by
on the
way,
other
si
end,
Mason,
as I said...
Yeah, go ahead, Gab. Then I'll add on Mason.
On the other end, as I said, La Salle, every time Mason Amos on the floor, they were targeting him. They're like, switch him on a guard. Let's see what he can do. And he just doesn't have the lateral quickness yet to keep up with perimeter players. And that's, I think, the rotation decision that Coach Tab made in the first half and in this game was to play less Mason Amos minutes. As much as a positive he is on offense, he's very negative on defense. Josh Lazaro played a heavy minutes in this game to combat the large front line of La Salle. He was very good on defense. Again, him and Sean Ketevis, excellent defensive players, total shit offensive players. That's it.
Grabe ka naman. No, just to add on Mason Amos.
I agree with Gab.
Amos.
Yeah. Go Sam, go Fab.
Grabe naman yung shit offensive players. But anyway, just to add on Mason Amos, shot 3 of 5 from 3. Yung dalawang misses niya, Gab, I just wanted to mention, I think those were off 2 misses because he had to throw the ball dahil wala ng time. I think they were like shot clock violation heaves. So to add to your point, tama ka. Those were like bad plays kasi Mason had to throw them na. I think ang layo nga nung isa niyang tira kaya it was short, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And tama rin si Maui about Kai Balungay. There are a lot of times they give it to Kai Balungay in a post-up or on the wing, and he just doesn't have the handle or any offensive skill set to make plays or to make plays off the dribble. So if there's something to work on in the offseason, Kai Balungay, you have to get a face up and you shot creation. You have a step back. I don't know, drive to your left. Learn how to protect the ball, bro. You can't just drive and not protect the ball. Learn how to ward off people. And he just ends up settling for jump shots a lot of the time when it's given to him. And in this team, they need shot creation. If there's a Bolero, if we're gonna award the Bolero of the season, Kai Bulungay has to be near that list because we had him as one of our MVP favorites, and he's nowhere near that.
Yeah. Tsaka di ba, we kept on humming him as a potential breakout player nung off-season. I think he was averaging 19 and 9 nung off-season throughout all of those tournaments, and now I think he's not even close to that production. I don't think, especially yung points. Yung efficiency niya that was lauded last season has definitely gone out the wall. But to add lang one last point, I thought that one of the things that really showed yung Gab mentioned yung Lazaro and Kitevis being a huge minus sa offense. I think one of the things that really highlighted that is when Kai Balungay had to go out when he was cut here in the nose. Ateneo was leading, I think, 30-25, and then they ended the half with a 35-32 score. So La Salle ended the quarter with a 10-2 run. So I think that was very big for La Salle. And it carried over definitely nung third quarter yung momentum. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts. A lot of improvements from Balungay and Amos definitely for next season if Ateneo is to take the leap and become a contender.
Sorry, speaking of third quarter, medyo kinabahan ako nung umpisa pa lang ng third quarter. Ateneo couldn't score also. Tapos sabi ko na, it's starting to look like one of those ugly third quarters. Buti na lang they were able to bounce back. Medyo, I think La Salle was just a +2 from that third quarter. Anything you want to add, Cap?
Last lang on Sean Quiteves. I know how important he is defensively for Ateneo, but I do think that if does he still have 1 year? I think he still has. Well, probably, he has a master's too.
Probably because I think he hasn't been part of the lineup naman eh. It's just that he's already masters right now. Diba?
Oh, yun. So I don't know. I know Coach Tab loves him, and I know he's a terrific defensive player, but I think you have to play him more like Mamu. As a guy off the bench, you put in as a guy off the bench, you put in situationally when you need to cover a guy. I don't think you can survive again next season having Sean Quiteves as your main shooting guard. I think you have to develop guys like Celis, Nieto, Gamber as a starting two guard and as a main two guard, and just put Sean Quiteves in situationally if you need a defensive stop, if you need to cover a good perimeter player, because having him in there for long stretches just so apparent yung deficiencies niya on offense. Kasi nga ang daming times talaga na sa kanya napupunta yung sinasag off lang siya, sa kanya napupunta yung kickouts and he's not looking to shoot. Or when he shoots, it's so terrible. I mean,
it's a huge contrast to Adrian Wong or Andrade during previous iterations of Tab Baldwin's lineups.
Yeah, agree. And I don't know, of course, Coach Tab, but if there's one thing, a lineup change for next season, I think he has to take Sean Quiteves out of the starting five. I know that seems sacrilegious to a lot of Ateneans because Sean has played his heart out this season and has been so important to this defense. But the offense just doesn't survive with him on the floor. I think you don't give up as much with LeBron Nieto there. I think he's also a pretty tough defender, but he can shoot. He doesn't give up so much on offense na it warrants playing Sean Quiteves heavy minutes. I think you can develop other two guards there who have more polished offensive skill set. Because honestly, ang hirap panoorin talaga pag si Sean Quiteves nakakuha ng bola on offense. Ay, mapapakamot ka lang ng ulo. Oh my God. Relying on this guy at the end of the shot clock to bail us out, it's not gonna turn out well. Ano yun? That's my thoughts. Let's go, UE. Pamatasan na silangan. Let's go.
Let's go, UE. Just before we end,
regardless naman, we still get a chance, di ba? Regardless if UE wins or not, Ateneo still has a chance. For the Ateneo faithful, it's still not over till it's over.
Laban lang, one big fight, no? Before we end, I just want to mention, I think, Gab, if we were doing ballers and boleros, I think you really have to be a baller for this week for calling the Mark Nonoy comeback season. Ever since kinall out mo si Mark Nonoy as a comeback player, he has been playing really well and he was solid in today's game also. So Gab,
solid in the first half. To
be fair, solid in the first half. And yung maganda sa La Salle, by the way, a lot of players contributed. So napagsapan natin si Policarpio, but like Austria also had like 6 points, I think, na mention mo na ata si David Maui, and si Cortez didn't score much, pero those steals from Obasa or yung mga tips din kay
3 steals in
Obasa.
7
Very
minutes,
crucial.
Gab.
Yeah.
Oo nga, no? 7 minutes.
Oh, we didn't mention him, but I thought Ian Espinosa played a decent game.
I
He
have
was
to
dishing
agree.
it out pretty well,
Yeah.
and he was
Crucial na
excellent
kanina.
defensively. Uh,
May crucial
Coach
free throws
Sandy
din ata.
Arespochaga, yep, Coach Sandy Arespochaga was quoted in saying that they choose to play Ian Espinosa because he's a better defender than the likes of Gomez or Jared Brown, and I think that's pretty true. He despite his small stature, he's a pretty hard-nosed defender, knows how to move his feet pretty well. A lot of times earlier was matched up with Evanele or Mark Nonoy or VJ David, and I think he held his own pretty well. So kudos to you, Ian Espinosa. Ikaw lang na-highlight as pagkamot ulo ng mga tenista because a lot of the times
Scapegoat.
ikaw yung binibigyan ng bola sa end ng shot clock.
That's true.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So we've been hard on him also, so let's give him credit. Okay, that's it. I think for today's episode,
Let's run down muna, Sam. Ano yung mga scenarios tomorrow?
So we will have another set of games tomorrow that will finally, hopefully, help us determine sino nga ba ang magpa-Final Four. So because of the La Salle win today and that Ateneo loss, Ateneo is not guaranteed to make it to the Final Four yet. So if Adamson wins over UE tomorrow, Ateneo and Adamson will have to face each other. So if that kaya yung mga Atenista dyan, tingnan mo naman si Gab, nakapula na because I'm sure tomorrow everyone's cheering for UE. If UE wins, sure in na Ateneo as number 4. And dun sa top 3 slots, yun yung medyo magulo pa. Because La Salle won, I think La Salle is guaranteed a twice to beat advantage. The question now
Best of 3.
is La
Sam,
Salle
best
going
of
to
3.
be minimum best of 3 pala. Sorry, tama. The question now is La Salle going to be number 1 to get the twice to beat or number 2 in a best of 3? I think that puts tama ba? If UP
think
wins,
you're right,
UP is
Sam.
the first place.
I think you're right. Sorry, Sam. I have to correct myself.
They don't get the best of 3. If
I think
if
they're
NU
guaranteed.
loses, they're automatically number 2.
Yeah. Number 2.
You're correct.
Tama.
Sorry. I have
guaranteed.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's okay, Mau. Guaranteed twice to beat na sila Sal. If UP wins, they get number 1 twice to beat facing the 4th place. But if UP loses, doon papasok Mau yung best of 3. Tama? It's going to be UP versus
UP.
NU best
Correct.
to battle for second place, which is virtually a best of 3 series. So must watch yung games bukas. Anong game yung una ba?
Of course, the Adamson UE one.
definitely.
Who right mind would put Adamson
Let's
UE
go,
in the
Ateneo.
second game, Sam?
Let's
One
go
versus
Ateneo
one
Red
versus
Warriors.
2 diba?
Let's
last
go
talaga.
Ateneo Red Warriors. Okay, that's it for today's episode. Comment down below anong mga feelings nyo dun sa game na yun. Sa mga Lasal listeners natin, how do you feel? Do you
Is this
feel
validation
confident about
Is this
do you
validation?
feel confident? Oo. Is this validation? Confident na ba kayo? Mag-champion kayo? Ateneo, please make sure to watch tomorrow's game. Cheer for UE. Pero kahit naman manalo Adamson, Ateneo still has a chance. So, thanks for listening. Don't forget, comment, subscribe, like, share with your friends. And before we go, if you see any of us watching the games, don't be afraid to call us and say hi. We love chatting with our listeners. We met a couple of listeners again earlier today. So thank you for saying hi. We appreciate you all. And we're so happy that you are enjoying this podcast. That's it for today. See you next time. Bye-bye.